Hi, my dear students. Welcome to my biology class. You might have heard about different types of diseases like infectious diseases, non-infectious diseases, deficiency diseases, and genetic diseases or disorders. So, what do you mean by genetic disorders? The disorders can be occur due to the mutations or alteration of genes. The genetic disorders can be categorized into two groups. Those are Mendelian disorders and chromosomal disorders. Genetic disorders are of two types. They are Mendelian disorders and chromosomal disorders. Chromosomal disorders. Mendelian disorders means the disorders are occurred due to the mutations of genes, either dominant gene or recessive gene. Those genes are present in both autosomes and sex chromosomes. So, the Mendelian disorders can be further divided into two groups: autosomal diseases and sex-linked diseases. What are they? Autosomal disorders and sex-linked disorders. Sex-linked disorders. Autosomal disorders means the disorders are occurred due to the genes that are present in the autosomes, while the sex-linked or X-linked disorders means the disorders that occur due to the presence of certain kind of genes or mutated genes present in the sex chromosome or X chromosome. So the next category, chromosomal disorders. Chromosomal disorders are usually occurred by the chromosomal alteration. That means aberrations. The number of chromosome can be changed. That we have already learned in the previous class, aneuploidy and euploidy. So, structural or morphological chromosomal mutations lead to the change in the structure of the chromosome. So, both chromosomal aberrations and the change in the number of chromosomes may lead to chromosomal disorders. So, did you get the difference between the genetic disorders, the Mendelian disorder and the chromosomal disorders? Today, we are going to learn about one of the most common genetic disorders, that is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia. It is a Mendelian disorder as it occurs due to the mutation of the genes that are present in the chromosomes. So, we are going to learn more about sickle cell anemia. The word sickle cell was first described, or it was first observed by a scientist, Herrick, in 1910. Herrick in 1910. I have told you that sickle cell anemia is a specific type of genetic disorder. It is an autosomal recessive disorder. It is an autosomal recessive disorder. Autosomal recessive disorder means the disease is occurred due to the presence of a homozygous recessive allele. So, those recessive alleles are present in the autosomes. The genes that are responsible for sickle cell anemia are present in the 11th pair of human chromosome. Suppose this is the 11th pair of human chromosome. Suppose if the recessive alleles are located here, so the alleles locate at a particular loci in this homologous chromosome. This particular pair of homozygous recessive allele causes sickle cell anemia. The mutation of these genes cause sickle cell anemic condition. So that it is known as autosomal recessive. As the recessive alleles are present in the autosomes, it is known as autosomal recessive disorder. This disease doesn't express in one's body if the person having only a single recessive allele. For example, this is the 11th pair of chromosome. Suppose if this particular chromosome having only a single recessive allele, so it will never cause, so another one will be having that dominant allele. This will never cause the disease because it happens only in the presence of a pair of homozygous recessive allele. This condition, this heterozygous condition, is the carrier. Heterozygous condition is the carrier, means the disease does not express in such person. The person can act as the carrier. Then that carrier person can donate or contribute that recessive allele to the next generation. Did you get it? As it is an autosomal disorder, it can be seen both in males and females. Now let's understand more details about sickle cell anemia, its causes, its symptoms and its effects in the body. We all know that hemoglobin is the carrier protein. It is a respiratory pigment which is present in the RBC or red blood cell. Hemoglobin has a heme part, iron part and a globin part. The globin part is made up of a complex protein. That means hemoglobin is a complex protein or a polypeptide. So hemoglobin, complex protein or polypeptide. That means it is made up of a chain or a series of different types of amino acid. Then hemoglobin is composed of 2 alpha chains of amino acids and 2 beta chains of amino acids. 2 alpha chains of amino acids and 2 beta chains of amino acid. That it forms as a complex structure. Hemoglobin is an example of the quaternary structure of the protein, as it is a highly complex molecule. It consists of alpha chains and beta chains. If hemoglobin produces normally in the body, the normal RBC and the smooth functioning of the RBC, that means the transport of oxygen takes place without any problem. So if there is any problem in the production of the hemoglobin chain, the abnormal production of the hemoglobin chain leads to the abnormal structure of the RBC. So the first point, abnormal production of hemoglobin. Abnormal production of hemoglobin chain leads to what? The shape or the structure of the RBC changes into sickle cell. So here the RBC has a specific structure, biconcave disc shaped structure. This biconcave disc shaped structure changes into crescent shaped or sickle shaped RBC. Sickle shaped RBC. Sickle shaped RBC. So the abnormal production of hemoglobin chain leads to the sickle shaped RBC. So that what happens? These sickle shaped RBC block the transport of blood through the fine capillaries. Look at here. Suppose this is a blood capillary, blood vessel with the blood capillary. If the RBCs are spherical or round in shape, they flow very smoothly through these vessels. So when it is in sickle shaped or crescent shaped, the fine capillaries will be blocked like this. So it leads to the blockage of the fine capillaries of the blood vessels. So what happens? Then oxygen deficiency. It leads to oxygen deficiency. That means proper amount of blood doesn't reach to the vital organs or tissues of the body. So it leads to oxygen deficiency. Then finally leads to anemic condition. anemia. What will happen if there is deficiency of oxygen in the vital organs? It leads to anemic condition. So it leads to tiredness or weakness of the body, pale skin, muscle cramps or fatigue, then headache, tiredness, dizziness, and so on. So these are certain symptoms of this sickle cell anemic condition. Now let's study the genetic reason, genetic cause of the sickle cell anemia. How these abnormal hemoglobin molecules are produced. What is the reason behind it? We'll learn more detail about the genetic cause of sickle cell anemia. The normal production of hemoglobin is controlled by a specific gene called HbA. HbA gene. This is a normal hemoglobin. It controls normal hemoglobin production. So, while the sickle cell hemoglobin, that means the abnormal hemoglobin is produced by a specific gene called HbS, sickle celled condition, or abnormal hemoglobin. Abnormal hemoglobin. The condition is caused due to HbS or recessive allele. The first one is the dominant one. The second one is the recessive one. So, if a person having two dominant allele like this, so a pair of dominant allele like this, the person's body produces normal hemoglobin. So, normal condition. If a person having heterozygous genes like HbA and HbS, this is the carrier condition. These are carriers. Means the disease doesn't express in them. So they act as carriers. They can pass on that gene to the respective generation. This particular gene can be contributed to the next generation. So the next condition is HbS, HbS. This is the diseased condition. Diseased condition, that is sickle cell anemia. I have told you just before that it's an autosomal recessive disorder. These two are the recessive genes responsible for this particular disorder, HbS, HbS. So this is the normal hemoglobin, HbA, HbA. If we have HbA, HbA, our body produces normal hemoglobin or normal condition or normal hemoglobin. If it is like this heterozygous condition, we act as carriers. If a person carries these two recessive alleles, that person will be diseased. Sickle cell anemia is occurred due to the point mutation, a single base pair mutation in the DNA. So, let's study what is a normal hemoglobin, what is the structure of normal hemoglobin and the abnormal hemoglobin. What is the genetic cause? Point mutation. Point mutation. Point mutation means mutation of the single base pair. Mutation in single base pair. Okay, then here let's understand what is the structure of the hemoglobin HbA and HbS. The abnormality occurs in the beta chain of the hemoglobin. I have told you that hemoglobin is composed of 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chain. The abnormality, that means point mutation, occurs in the beta chain of the hemoglobin. So here I am going to draw the structure of the normal hemoglobin and the abnormal hemoglobin. Let's understand how are they produced by the DNA. We have studied that the information for synthesizing a particular protein is coded in the DNA. It is a genetic material in most of the living organism. So that a character or a trait is controlled by a protein. A protein is produced with the help of DNA, the information that is stored in the DNA. So let's begin from the DNA. How a normal DNA can produce a normal hemoglobin. First of all, let's learn how a normal hemoglobin or HbA is produced. The information center is the DNA, so that I begin from DNA. Here I draw a small segment of DNA. DNA has two strands, the coding strand and the template strand. DNA consists of base pairs, the nitrogen base pairs. So here I draw only the particular segment that undergoes mutation. So here I draw the normal base pairs that will produce the normal hemoglobin. Here G, A, G. C, T, C. So guanine with the cytosine, adenine with the thymine, guanine with the cytosine. Here these are the base pairs, GC, AT, GC. Guanine with the cytosine, adenine with the thymine, guanine with the cytosine. Here the DNA undergoes transcription to form an mRNA, then mRNA undergoes translate to form a protein. That is the central dogma in molecular biology. This is the way the information is transferred from the DNA to mRNA, mRNA to a protein. That protein controls a particular trait or a character. So DNA undergoes transcription. It's a specific process that takes place in the cell. It forms an mRNA. This mRNA undergoes translation. Another process that takes place in the cell, translation. It produces a particular protein. This particular protein controls a specific trait or a character. Controls a trait. That means gene expression through a protein. The ultimate source of information is DNA. The information is coded in the form of base pairs. Here it is the source of information of that particular amino acid in the beta hemoglobin chain. So this part, this template strand undergoes transcription to form the specific, that complementary mRNA. So it undergoes transcription, forms an mRNA. mRNA is the messenger RNA. So CTC undergoes transcription to form a strand of mRNA. It is complementary to this template strand. That cytosine to guanine, thymine to adenine, again cytosine to guanine. So this is the structure sequence of the nitrogen bases in the mRNA strand. Okay, this particular mRNA undergoes translation and forms a particular sequence of amino acid in the beta chain of the hemoglobin. This GAG produces a specific amino acid, glutamic acid. Glutamic acid, this is one of the amino acids of the beta chain. Here I am going to draw the beta chain. Then you will understand the position of the glutamic acid in the beta chain. So here I draw the normal HbA chain. It consists of amino acid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, each circle represents one amino acid. First one valine, second one histidine, leucine, third one leucine, threonine, proline, next one glutamic acid, GLU. GLU represents glutamic acid. Glutamic acid. Next one also glutamic acid. It means this is the first position, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Here this is the normal HBA chain. Normal HBA chain. This is a segment of beta chain. Beta chain consists of about 146 amino acids. This is only a single portion of the beta chain. It is beta chain of the normal hemoglobin, that normal HBA chain. I had told you that it is a polypeptide. Hemoglobin is a polypeptide. It consists of different types of amino acids. The series of amino acids you can observe here: valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamic acid and glutamic acid. This is the normal hemoglobin chain. This is the sequence of or series of amino acids that are present in the beta chain of the normal hemoglobin chain. So it causes the production of what? Normal hemoglobin. There is no problem in the body of the person if the process take place like this. If there is no problem in the DNA, the source of genetic material, then it would produce the normal hemoglobin. Then let's understand how the HBS, the abnormal hemoglobin, is produced. Let's begin from the DNA. DNA, it has coding strand and template strand. Then if the coding strand has GTG, the template strand has guanine, cytosine, thymine, adenine, guanine, cytosine, CAC. Here this template strand undergo what? Transcription to form an mRNA. So it forms as the complementary strand, cytosine to guanine, adenine to not thymine, that is uracil. Instead of thymine in RNA there is no thymine. Instead of thymine there is uracil. So here adenine to uracil, cytosine to guanine. Here GUG, a sequence of GUG is produced here by transcription. Then GUG results in the production of an amino acid valine. Valine is the amino acid. So here the valine occupies the 6th position. So instead of glutamic acid, what happens here? The valine substitutes the position. Glutamic acid is replaced by valine. So the structure changes like this: valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, next then valine. Valine, then glutamic acid. So this is the way the structure changes. Here the 6th position, the glutamic acid is occupied by the valine. How it happens? Because of the single mutation, one base pair mutation. If you look at here, this is the base pair. Here it is adenine to thymine, here is thymine to adenine. So that the sequence of the bases in the mRNA changes as a GAG to GUG. GAG to GUG, so that glutamic acid is changed into valine. So due to the production of the valine, valine occupies the 6th position of the normal hemoglobin chain. So the structure of the amino acid changes. Due to the change in single amino acid causes the structure of the beta hemoglobin chain. So it results in the production of HBS. So this is the HBS. This is the way the HBS, beta hemoglobin chain, is synthesized in the body. It is because of the point mutation. Here only single base pair. This is a single base pair mutation. Here instead of 80, here TA, so a single base pair change. It results in the abnormal production of the mRNA. So abnormal amino acid is inserted in the sequences of amino acid chain, beta hemoglobin chain, that results in the production of the HbS or abnormal hemoglobin. Now you can observe the diagrammatic representation of the normal HbA polypeptide and the abnormal HbS polypeptide. So you can easily observe how the DNA produces the corresponding mRNA and the beta chain of the hemoglobin with these sequences of amino acids. First one, valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamic acid and glutamic acid. The first three letters of the amino acid is represented inside the circle to represent the particular amino acid: valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamic acid, glutamic acid. Here the sixth position is occupied by glutamic acid. How it happens that the template strands undergoes the transcription, it produces GAG mRNA. That particular sequence is responsible for the glutamic acid amino acid production in this particular polypeptide chain. Here in the case of the HbS abnormal hemoglobin polypeptide chain, what happens? The mutation in this particular base pair causes the production of the mRNA GUG sequence of the nucleotides, and it produces another amino acid instead of glutamic acid, that is valine. So here the sixth position is occupied by valine. So it causes the production of the HbS or abnormal hemoglobin chain. So this is the cause, the genetic cause of the sickle cell anemia. Then next, let's understand how the children are affected by their parents. How do the children receive the recessive allele from their parents? To understand more about this, let's take a cross between two parents. So first of all, let's take a normal male and then affected female. First cross, normal male and with the affected female. Just before I have told you that the normal condition of the gene will be HbA, HbA. Normal. HbA and HbS are carriers. Heterozygous condition is a carrier. HbS is a deceased condition. You have to keep these points in your mind. So these are the different combinations of the genes. That means that the genes that are responsible for the production of the hemoglobin can be found in these three different forms. Any one of the forms can be found in a person. So that is responsible for the production of the hemoglobin. So here the first parent is normal male. Normal male can be represented as HbA. So what does it mean? What does it represent? The 11th pair of homologous chromosome has this HbA gene, particular position in the homologous chromosome. So that's the meaning of HbA. So affected female means HbS. That means affected 11th pair with a recessive allele, a pair of recessive allele. Okay, so that is HbS and HbS. Here that parents, when we cross this parent with the male parent with the female, the possible genotypes are HbA with the HbS, again HbA with the HbS, the next one also HbA, HbS, here HbA, HbS. What did you get from this? All these are carriers. So this is the safe condition. So if one of the parent is affected, if the other parent is a normal, all the children will be born as carriers. So this disease will not be expressed in these children, but they can act as the carriers for the next generation. This is one example. Next, let's take another example. What would be the possible genotypes if both parents are carriers? Let us think. Let us find out it. So carrier male and carrier female. So carrier male can be represented like this: HBA, HBS. Carrier female also HBA, HBS. So let's find out the possible genotypes. HBA with HBA, the first one. What is actually this? Fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete. So that's a chance of the possibility of the genotype, formation of the genotype. Then here again the HBA with the HBS, HBA with the HBS. Then third case again HBA, as it is a dominant it should write at first. HBA, HBS, again finally HBS, HBS. Here the first one is normal. Normal child. Second one is the carrier child. Third one also carrier. The fourth one sickle cell anemic deceased. Okay, did you get it? All types of progenies are formed in this case if both parents are carriers. Did you get it? If both are affected means HBS condition in both individuals, both parents means all children will be affected. So did you get how the genotype, different types of combination of these genotypes are formed in the progeny? How do they receive these genes from the parents? I hope you understood this. So now let's understand how the pedigree of this cross is drawn. So suppose it's a carrier male with the affected female. So carrier male means HBA, HBS. Affected female means HBS, HBS. What are the possibilities? HBA, HBS. Again HBA, HBS. Then HBS, HBS. Again HBS, HBS. Here 50% carriers, 50% deceased sickle cell anemic children. So how can we represent the pedigree of this family? So male can be represented by using a square. Then female can be represented by using a circle. Affected female must be shaded like this. So they have 1, 2, 3. Suppose if they have 4 children, daughter, then son, again son, 1 daughter, suppose. So here the first case HBS means this may be carrier, second one also carrier, the third one is affected, deceased, the fourth one also affected. So this is the way we can represent the using the genotype. We can represent the pedigree by using the genotype. So if we get the pedigree also, we can draw the genotype. If we get the genotype, we can easily draw the pedigree. So here carrier male is not shaded, so we cannot understand whether it is a carrier or a normal. By seeing this cross only, by by seeing the percentage of the affected children only, we can easily understand whether the male parent is a carrier or not. So if the parent is carrier, definitely the children, that one of the parent is carrier, the other parent is affected, the cross will be like this. So similarly, you have to make the cross like this, then you can easily understand whether the unshaded symbol is carrier or a normal. Then shaded symbol, of course, it will be deceased. This is the easy way to understand the pedigree. Here the pedigree chart is used to understand the inheritance pattern of the Mendelian disorder. Is it clear now what I have taught you in the previous session? The pedigree analysis. So analytical study of the inheritance pattern of a particular trait in the family by using the pedigree chart. In the pedigree chart, certain symbols are used for representing the family members. So we can trace the inheritance of a particular trait or disease in a particular family by using these symbols, and we can also find out whether it is autosomal or sex linked. We have already learned in the previous class. So I think now it is more clear to you how the pedigree is related to the genotype of the particular trait or a disease. I hope you understood the topic well. Today we have learned about what is sickle cell anemia, what are the causes and symptoms of sickle cell anemia. With this I conclude my session. Then thank you and have nice moments.